Hello and welcome. It is Monday, July 30th, 2018. I hope everybody had a good weekend. I wish I could say I did, but I'd be lying if I did. But today I want to talk about a sequel. Yes, another sequel to another video I have made. Going back to the 72 Goetic Sheep video. And, well, if you've seen the video, you know that I was talking about mostly the person named Lucifer. How she likes to spread her personal gnosis as fact. And if you have any experience, you're wrong and unauthorized, because she speaks to Lucifer personally. Well, let's just say some things kind of revealed themselves to be. I understand why she's the way she is. I get it now. I woke up after a terrible Saturday. Not that Sunday was any better. No. It wasn't. But, I was checking my notifications, and one of the chat rooms I'm in was full. So I decided to see what I missed. Not much, really. But I noticed Lucy there was there being herself, a condescending asshole, as always, with a new profile picture, as she often does every 5 days. So I decided to check it out. And lo and behold, her profile description changed, as one often does on social medias. You know, updates and all that. Change it up. So I read it, and I was rewarded with a new description than when I last seen it, almost 2 years ago. The only thing that stayed the same was the name she calls herself was Ray, which I don't know why she doesn't go by that name, but okay. Of course, it's in the Japanese spelling of REI. She looks to be like some kind of Italian or Latino, something like that. I had that mixed up. Forgive me. But I'm not saying she may not have Japanese in her bloodline, but I won't dispute that, but because it is a possibility. But she looks like some kind of Latino or Italian, or possibly a little towards the Middle Eastern quadrant of skin color. Beautiful black hair. To that I am quite jealous of. Right? I know. She doesn't post pictures of herself very often. But she looks like your typical 16-year-old girl. To which I called it. She is 16. I'm like, I fucking knew it. Give me a cake. Because I called that shit. Then she likes to play the pronoun game. She wants to be a he. But yet, her pictures show her as a feminine girl. And we're talking fairly recent too, so last picture she had of herself was back in April or May, like the cusp of those 2 months. So I can't take her seriously if she doesn't want to change her looks. Because apparently her best friend, the other one I mentioned in the video, brought this up before, so I mean, Katie Lang, the woman who sang Constant Craving, you know, she's a butch lesbian, and she lets her masculine features show. I mean, she could, you know, be feminine if she wanted to, and she has in her music video for Miss Chatterlane, but which you can see in your YouTube search if you type in Katie Lang. But even then, she makes the attempt to transform herself, as well as the few friends that I have that are making their own transition to their gender that they feel they should be. Some guys to girls, some girls to guys. They're making the attempt to change. They're not just sitting there doing nothing and then get mad when you call them the way you see them. And then finally, the crowning piece to this attitude of hers, which makes it all come together. She identifies herself as other kin. Species Seraphim. Now, if you're old or you've been living under a rock, you don't know what other kin is. Basically, it is, at its core, someone who has the mindset and spirit they believe. Their spirit and mindset is that of a mythological and or religious creature. like Ray believes he is a seraphim angel, which is actually kind of ironic considering the fact that she despises anybody that claims Lucifer's an angel at all. Go figure. Now, there is another branch called Therian, which is what I heard first. And that's people who have the mindset and spirit of a wolf or canine animal. Identifiable. Now, I'm sure there's more Therian types out there, but the common one is wolves. I've met some cool Therians. I've met like one cool otherkin. But other than that, according to my friend, and it's changed my mind recently because there's like a few top people that show this to be true, that all otherkins suffer from mental illness. And Ray is just another one in that book. Of course it makes sense for her to be so elitist, so condescendingly assholeian. Claims to be an angel. One of the highest of angels. Okay. Well, that explains your attitude problem. That explains why you think you're better than everybody else. And, now I'm not saying all of them are like this, but most otherkins that I've met all suffer from delusions, thinking there is some high and mighty powerful entity, from a seraphim to demons. A demon goddess who created shit, and one who thinks he's the son of Enki, of the Sumerian, Babylonian, and Akkadian pantheon. And they all have another thing in common. And like I said, I'm not saying all of them do, but the ones I've met all suffer from some kind of childhood trauma. Either they witnessed something tragic, or a family member played the game of bad touch. But they all have some kind of trauma from their past in common. And as I guess as a coping mechanism, they escaped into a fantasy world. And believe that they're something higher, something more powerful than they really were. Which was being a broken human being. So of course this makes sense. Because they also share this elitist attitude that they think they're better. And the worst part is they all dabble in magic. They all do magic. Yeah, so let's do something that could, potentially destroy you mentally. Yeah, let's do that. Even in the Simon Necronomicon, it says, be careful, the forces in this book can mentally mess you the fuck up. Not as eloquently put as I just put it, but still. The same goes for all types of magic. You're messing with forces that, if you are not mentally strong enough to handle, you have no business partaking in. And I don't care if you saw it on TV or read it in a book. So, I mean, Ray being a seraphim, an angel with an attitude. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. But, just mental illness is something that should not be taken lightly. It is something that needs to be taken care of properly. Because if you let it go, you'll end up like my friend Dan, who thinks he's this greatest magician, psychic, thinks he's the son of Enki, thinks he can command Goetic daemons and their demons and legions, and thinks he's the most infamous and wanted man in the state of Florida. Thinks he's doing the world a favor by killing black people because he's racist and calls all blacks schizophrenic. I don't know how many times he says that daily. That black people are all schizophrenic and racist. I'm like, no, motherfucker, you are. And then he publicly admits to killing former police officers, FBI agents, being tracked by the FBI and CIA and all that. Claims that all rappers are in the Illuminati and just Latino gangs are after him, and just delusions. he is the prime example of what happens when mental illness does not get help. Ray is the lightest of the list of my top people who prove that otherkins are mentally ill. Despite her smug attitude, he is actually the lightest. One of them, named Raven, she thinks she's a chaos demon. And fucking thinks that, she can control people psychically. But when it comes time to put up or shut up, she mysteriously has to go every time. And then her friend, Khaki, who her own group she protects and kisses her ass. God forbid you mention anything close to her trigger warnings, and then she starts crying like a little bitch. And throws a fucking fit. And then all of a sudden, you're the fucking bad guy. And Khaki wasn't even in the conversation. That's the fucked up part. Khaki thinks she's some kind of fictional cartoon character. And that she's the real deal. Thinks a dragon comes out of her portal that she has in her room to watch TV. Mental illness is serious. This is something you don't just let go. But they all share this elitist attitude, this superiority complex where they think they're this high and mighty being. Personally, Ray can go fuck off. Raven, I don't talk to her anymore because she proved that she is a sick individual. Thinking pedophilia jokes are funny. Especially when a picture of a little girl that says "fuck me in the ass" is funny. Sorry. Nope, that ain't funny at all. I'm done with you. Just like Nazis, I don't want anybody who thinks pedophilia or advocates pedophilia or anything to do with it near me. I'm from the old school. We don't tolerate that shit. Khaki I never cared for, so she can eat shit and die, I don't care. I ain't kissing her ass. I'm not gonna limit myself to someone else. I had plenty of that with my roommate's wife, who is also a fae-kin. A fairy-kin. She too had a very traumatic childhood. And you have to walk on eggshells with her. But yet, she too has that trait of thinking she's superior. See, it all makes sense to me. Again, I'm not saying all other kins and Therians come from a childhood that was bad or traumatic. I'm not saying that at all. But most of the ones I've seen and met all share that. I've seen plenty of paranormal phenomenon that I can't explain. And I'm going through it. 7 years and some odd months later. But yet, I still keep myself intact. I don't go off into my fantasy land and come back pretending something I'm not. Yeah, I escape reality once in a while. Who doesn't? Life sucks. But when you come back into reality and you start forcing people to bow down to you and accept your views, nah. You can fuck off, motherfuckers. You show me respect, I show you respect. But if you come at me pretending that you are the shit, I'm gonna treat you like shit. If you suffer from mental illness, or you think you are, go get some help. Do not let it go bad. Do not let it go. There are people that are here to help you. Because the further you let it go, the worse it's gonna get. And the worse you are going to put others and yourself in danger. Especially when you fucking around with magic. I'm nobody. I'm just a guy. But I know enough, I've seen enough to know when someone should get some help. And a lot of people in the magic world need to get some help. Whether they did magic and it fucked them up and they're going with it, or they think this and that and the other. They need to get some fucking help.